I started to read a literature novel in the hope of enriching my vocabulary, to be more professional. I finished 6 books in about 6 months, but when it comes to the Moby Dick, it kind of come to a halt. You might say, okay, you got so many free time to read a book. Well, I did plan 1 hour per day to specify it to read a book. But later I found you don't need to do that, because whenever you get bored, you want to pick up your cell phone to just watch anything, then you can pick a book. And even that you are doing your work, you are learning something, and you need to pause to get water, to get anything to eat. You can also pick up the book you were reading to pass that time. And yes, you do always need to carry a book and put it nearby. Always have a book nearby. Why don't that make sense? Okay, download it in your cell phone, or maybe get a Kindle, or even maybe something like Remarkable, so you can have a pen to write it on, to fill the paper thing. Look, the fact is that I didn't consider that. The major problem is that you need to have an electric device, then you need to consider charge them, and then you need to consider, okay, what about the pen? And then you need to consider that, does it protect your eye? As you can see, I have a glass right now. And then what about the lifetime, the pen, blah blah, so complicated. First of all, the idea of my reading book is use the fragment time. I don't want to make things complicated. Secondly, I just like the feeling of having a book at hand, and you can open it with a dog ear, and then you can have a pen to write on it. Cost of book and a pen compared to the electric device. You do the math. Electric or physical book, whichever works for you, that'd be fine. But a human being has one thing in common, which we can take advantage of. Hey bro, you do know this can be harmful to you, right? Yeah, you're right, but still it's better than watching your cell phone. And reading a boring literature book, I don't think the temptation is that much. How about that? We are doing your thing, try it. And if it's not for you, well, what I've learned from this kind of reading. Say hi. Well, because usually literature books, they are kind of a story. Some story you feel connected with them. You might share some similar childhood, similar life experience. And personally, I feel I'm kind of unique, and my mind is what makes me special. But when you read some book, you figure out, okay, the person who a few decades ago, or even 100 years ago, they even shared similar thoughts as you are, which makes me kind of, I'm not special. But then you realize this is life, and I'm not able to write this kind of novel. I mentioned the primary goal is to enrich my vocabularies. So when I read the book, when I see some words or sentence which I not comprehend, I will just leave some mark, but I won't search it immediately, because I've tried. That will be time consuming. The most efficient way is that when you finish the book, then you go back to the computer and search each of them. Doing it by this way is more efficient, and it's also kind of you have read it twice, and the second time much easier, because you just need to focus on a few sentences and few words. The kitten is keeping biting me. Better leave. Slow down the reading dramatically when it's come to Moby Dick. Because fairly speaking, this book is quite difficult for me to read. The words, the description, the sentence, and for those books I read before, there are words I put them in Google, and I found out that the frequency of them being used is quite low. I'm not saying that you don't need to learn them, because that is what makes you specialized in something. But I'm kind of short of time, and I have a lot of other things to do. So since it's not for my academic usage, so I decided to slow down it a little bit. The second reason is quite obvious, because reading is kind of consumption. When you consume a lot of stuff, you got to put it into practice, right? Sometimes it's just better to come out to experience instead of read a book and imagine that. I mean, I still carry and read a book now, and I just think at a different age, at different time period, there will be things which have more priorities. Like reading book if I'm in school, or maybe when I get older, I can only lay on the bed, or maybe when I was in the airport waiting for something, I will read a book. Other than that, this won't be my priority anymore. I hope this video answers why, how, when to read a book, and that's it for me today. See you in the next one.